Facebook, and to go.
You ready, kiddo? All right, is everyone rolling?
Yes.
You promise?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I think so. I hope so.
All right, here we go, Lo.
All right. Where it began, I can't begin to know it.
Grab your mic.
But then I know it's growing strong. I don't want my mic.
Oh, okay, because the beat's kind of loud.
I'm so glad that you talked in the middle of our song. It's so great. It's just so great.
Welcome to the Happy Half Hour Show, everybody.
I'll appease the baby. I'll give the baby his bottle. Are you ready? Hands. No touching hands.
No touching hands.
No reaching out.
Reach it out, baby.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
And I won't touch you. Sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe that never would, but now I'm gonna drink this quarantini.
Happy Half Hour Show, everybody. This is our quarantini, the drink of the week.
Yeah.
Salute, Lo.
It really is kind of the drink of the week, isn't
I
it?
put it all the way to the top. Sorry. It's literally you looked up the quarantini recipe, right?
Yes. Which, by the way, Emergency does not condone. I discovered.
It's kind of like an oxymoron. You're drinking alcohol, which kind of breaks down your immune system.
Yep.
Not kind of, it actually does.
Yeah, no,
and
not
then
kind
you're
of
putting
does.
Emergency, so it's but the Emergency makes it tasty. I use the citrus, the orange
But
one.
everybody can use a little extra vitamin C.
Yeah, that's true.
Any way we can get it, right, guys?
Well, maybe, perhaps, yeah. It's just gonna come out. It's just gonna come out in the wash.
Oh.
All right.
Hi, guys.
So quarantini, happy half hour Wednesday. The drink of the week is quarantini. So
Yes.
I used 3 parts gin, 1 or maybe 2 parts vodka.
Where did the thing go? I left it right there.
And what thing is that?
The wrapper that I wanted to leave right here. That you
It must have. No, I didn't touch it. I swear, it must have fell off the table when you were running by and stuff. I promise you, I did not touch it.
You moved it back here.
I didn't move
It
it.
fell off the
Holy
table
cow,
back
I didn't
here.
move it.
It fell off the table behind you after I
She
told him
gets so
specifically to
mad.
leave it there. He
Wait a
doesn't
minute.
listen.
Is
He
this?
has husband brain.
Hold on a
No.
minute. Is this marriage counseling or the happy half hour?
Both. He has husband brain where he goes, yes, dear, I understood everything you said, and then does the exact opposite.
All I have to say is, you like my Nuevo New York hat?
No, I don't like anything about you right now.
Oh my goodness.
Just kidding.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Just
we have
kidding.
wait, you can't touch me.
Actually, that's what happens after a few days of quarantine, right?
We're all going stir crazy.
Get out of my hair! Stop.
So the show's gonna be a little longer today, but we figured you have time.
Yeah, buckle up.
So chill with us.
Get comfy, get cozy.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We have you all on a line.
In a straight line now.
Yep,
so
I like it.
So it's better than us just
Every
looking
week
everywhere.
we're getting a little better. We keep on working on our technical stuff. Hopefully we're getting better.
I think we're
Fingers
getting
crossed.
better. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you, Lo.
All right. And cheers to you.
Cheers to you at home. Yes, and seriously, these truly are unprecedented times, and
Yeah.
nobody knows what to expect.
Well, here's the thing, and it's not just the entertainment world
No,
that
it's
has been
everybody.
affected. I mean, literally everybody, unless you work in a grocery store, and in that case, it's all hands on deck.
Right.
And thank you if
Thank
you work
you.
in a grocery store. Oh my God, you're our savior.
I know our 2 local stores, Pavilions and Grocery Outlet, man. You guys rule. Thank you.
Jeez, I mean, this is, like you said, unprecedented times, and it doesn't matter what you are. If you're a comedian, a dancer, a restaurant owner, an actor, I keep saying entertainment things because those are all my friends.
A plumber, an accountant, some kind of executive.
I certainly hope we don't need a plumber anytime soon. That'd be
fingers
horrible.
and toes double, quadruple crossed.
To not have toilet paper and need a plumber?
My goodness. But it's funny, I saw a buddy of mine online, Jason Eskridge, if you're out there, he said, yeah, people used to talk trash about me when I came back from Asia and Europe, and I was saying, oh man, the bidets are so awesome. And now everybody's like, oh wow, America should adopt the bidet method. And I agree. I love going to Japan for that reason.
You love bidets, my dear?
They're amazing.
So
easy.
So my friend,
quick, easy.
My friend John Saponaro has a very funny piece on bidets. He's a comedian, and you guys go look him up. John Saponaro. He just released a whole bidet piece. It's hilarious.
Interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, everybody's at home for the most part.
Right.
And you got nothing else better to do. So we figured this would be a little bit of an extended version of the show. But in talking about, how you can help, right? Because everybody does want to help. We're getting a little stir crazy, and it doesn't take much to help us. We'll let you know how you can help us.
In just a second.
If you're right now. Oh. If you are just sitting around on your phone, on your laptop, whatever, we could really use your help. If you wouldn't mind going to whatever streaming platform you use, whether it's Spotify, Amazon, Apple, whatever it is.
Bananas, whatever it is, whatever.
Is Bananas a real thing?
I don't know, but I'm sure there'll be an app someday that plays music that's called Musical Bananas.
That's on the way from Nomad Lola, our app called Bananas.
Whatever music app you prefer to listen to music.
Please find us there, because we're there. I'm pretty sure we're there everywhere. We're everywhere.
You put Nomad Lola, Nomad and the ampersand sign, and Lola.
The ampersand sign,
also
known as the and sign. Put that in there and like us, love us, listen to us. Just put us on in the background.
Actually, I was saying, play us, play
us too. It would be really helpful.
So follow us on the streaming music platforms, literally Spotify or Amazon or Apple, whatever it is, whichever your platform is, even YouTube. So follow us, add us to your playlists,
please.
And if you could do us a favor, maybe even add us to other playlists, like build a playlist that you like. Say
DJ Kyo.
Exactly, yeah. Bob's favorite songs, and go ahead and add Nomad Lola into Bob's favorite playlist. You know what I mean? Help us out with that. Right now, it's kind of shameful. We have 7 monthly listeners on Spotify. We need more.
Lame, guys. We love you. Please love us back.
Please love us back.
Help us out.
Because we're making music constantly.
It would really be helpful. And wherever you like to shop from, again, we're not asking you to go somewhere specific, wherever. Like if you are a frequenter of YouTube, please like us.
Right.
We can use the help.
Facebook doesn't have a music app.
No, but you can like us there too.
You can like us there.
So everywhere, please just go like us. We're begging you, please.
Well, like us on all the socials, follow us and comment and share, but then also follow us and download our music, stream our music.
And scene. Now we're done. Now let's move on.
We'll clean that up in the future.
To music history. Don't worry, I got 2 more hits I got to do. I got 2 more hits I have to do. Look at that. I haven't even started drinking and I'm way off.
Right. And did you need to check your references thingy? Your
references,
I'm getting comment thingy?
I'm getting to it. Okay. Let's see. All right, guys. I'm checking in on Instagram real fast. Let me make sure.
Yep.
Make sure you guys are watching.
I'll play check-in music.
Please do. I like this. This is very peaceful. I'm loving it. Well, I just joined. Hi, Lola.
You just got to turn down the volume.
Yeah, I should do that. I'll turn that down. All right, so it's just me so far. I'm not seeing a whole lot of love, guys. We could use your love.
And gals and everybody.
Is it a bit embarrassing that I'm checking the feed as we're feeding?
No, it's okay. But you know what? Regardless of who's here, the show must go on.
Frank!
Thank you.
You're here.
Love you, baby.
You're always here. We love you.
Yes, we appreciate you.
And Diana.
And congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Once we're over this break, we'll get together.
About Frank and Diana.
We'll share that one later.
Kids growing up in Sunland.
Tonga. Come on, you gotta go with the rhyme.
It's Sunland.
Yeah, but I guess that rhymes better.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving right along.
Music history. So here we go.
Yep.
This week in music history, March 15th, 1955.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this is what is considered to be the first soul song.
Really?
Yeah. The first ever. I mean, like mainstream.
Okay,
maybe,
okay, that went
you know.
issue, yeah.
I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Let me make it for me. Ready? I got a nomad way over town that's good to me. Oh yeah, he gives me money when I tie my knee. Yeah, he's a trying one, friend indeed. I've got a nomad way over town that's good to me. Oh yeah. God, I'm sorry. I'm so white. That was bad.
I thought it was fun.
I tried.
It was cool though.
I
Thank you.
tried.
And you do have a nomad who's good to you.
I do.
Oh wait, we can't touch each other.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
We forgot that.
That's out the window. We sleep next to each other. It just happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do other things. Okay. So this week in music history, this I thought was very cool. So yesterday, on March 17th, but in 1957, Elvis Presley bought Graceland.
Wow.
Yeah. Get any guesses on how much he bought it for? No cheating. No Googling. I'll tell you. He bought it for just a little over $100 grand. Just a little over $100 grand. Now, back in the 50s, I mean, that was probably
quite a bit.
Like I would say maybe millions.
Maybe.
Like I don't know about the inflation.
I don't know. We would have to look that up. Yeah.
We're just assuming, but that's a lot. Now, this 23-roomed house was about 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And it had 13 acres. Now, he moved in a few weeks later after he purchased it, but he made the house, what was it? About 17,000 square feet. So he added basically a whole other house.
He added about 4,000 square feet, yeah.
Yeah, so 7,000, because it was 10.
Oh, it was 10.
17.
Oh, I'm looking at the acreage, sorry.
Yeah, anyway, so the reason why it was called Graceland.
Yeah, good question.
Would you like to know?
Please.
Because the original house or building on this property belonged to the Graceland Christian Church, and it was named after the builder's daughter, Grace.
Oh, very cool.
Toof.
Grace Toof. I would say Toof, maybe.
Toof.
T-O-O-F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Graceland comes from.
Amazing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. That happened this
Very
week
cool.
in music
Wow.
history.
This weekend, hold on, in 1957.
1957.
You said,
Mhm.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Also this week in music history. Now, this is one of those things where I feel like I should have known this, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So this week in music history is the week that Jefferson Airplane became Jefferson Starship.
I was just going to say, not to be confused with Jefferson Starship.
Yes, it's the same
Jeez.
band. Now with different musicians. They switched out some new musicians, but it's the same core
You know,
band.
if we did that, I think it would just be Lola and Nomad.
Yeah.
We're going to change our name.
Mm.
Now we're Lola and
And cheers to you, Evie.
Yeah. Yes, cheers, Evie.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I had no idea they were the same band. Not even a little bit. I had no clue.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't.
Oh, that's cute.
But you didn't know either.
I totally knew that.
Yeah, whatever.
I literally knew that. You know how I knew that?
How did you know
My
that?
father told me because he used to like Jefferson Starship. And then he would complain, Jefferson Airplane, yeah, they're not as good as when they were Jefferson Starship. He used to say that.
Well, Jefferson Starship came after. Bob.
Wait. Oh, well, then
Anyway.
I confused it. No, Bob knows what he's talking
I'm just
about.
kidding.
Bob was there. I wasn't.
Bob. Bob. It's just fun to say Bob like that.
It is.
Can you do it at home now? Bob.
You've been watching way too much Bob's Burgers.
I love that stupid show. And I say it's stupid because it's stupid funny.
Yeah.
Like, there are moments, and it's funny. Actually, Kay Young said I was a lot like Linda.
Is
The
that the
mom.
wife? The
Yeah.
mom?
And I'm like, don't say that. How dare you? It's
Okay.
true. That's me. Anyway, so this week in music history, actually, we don't typically talk about tragedy on this show,
Don't like to.
but I felt inclined to do it this story because we have a personal connection. So
Sure do.
you know that we play at D'Argenzio's often here in Burbank. That's a
wine bar.
rock and wine bar. And why are they rocking? Well, it's because it is the Rhoads family.
Yep.
So let's back it up. Randy Rhoads from Quiet Riot, also Ozzy Osbourne's guitarist.
Yeah. He
Which-
wasn't quite right for a minute. You're right.
Oh, he started Quiet Riot.
Oh, I didn't know he started it.
Well, let me teach you a little something,
Right.
Nomad. So here's the cool thing. Well, this week let me get the history out of the way.
Tell me.
This week is the week that Randy Rhoads passed away in a plane crash.
So sorry. It's so awful.
It is awful because it's one of those things where the story goes like this. They had been driving. They were touring in Florida, and they were driving all night, and they pulled off to a small airstrip. And now the bus driver also was a pilot. And so he convinced some of the band to go for a little test ride on a plane. And the first ride was great. They touched down and everything was fine. The second plane ride, which had Randy Rhoads on it and another gentleman.
Band member,
yeah,
I think,
another
right?
band member.
Or crew member. I'm not sure which one,
Anyway, from Youngblood.
Okay.
Rachel from Youngblood. So he took them out, and they were showing off basically, and they were trying to get close to the bus, you know, and they got a little too close, and it clipped, and I mean it's a tragedy, and it's horrible, and our heart goes out to the Rhoads family and everybody who loved Randy. But here's what I wanted to talk about. Did you know he's a Burbanker? A
Burbankian?
Yeah. He is. And so you know, in the early, let's see, let me get my ages right.
Kathy, his sister.
His sister also, she still lives here. Yeah. So he went to John Muir Middle School. Now, we know some kids that went to John Muir. And he met one of his best friends and one of his lifelong bandmates, Kelly Garner, there. All right. Now, it wasn't until Randy was about 16 years old that he saw Alice Cooper for the first time. What are you doing?
Oh, I was just looking at something. Sorry.
So Alice Cooper for the first time, and he was mesmerized.
Oh.
And that's where, so actually, let me back it up. He got his first guitar when he was 13 years old, but it was kind of a cheap guitar, so he fell out of love with it, which you can attest to. Like, if you are going to get an instrument for a child, you really should invest in the quality guitar.
It doesn't have to be super expensive, but I will say this. It really depends on the lessons you get the child, because I was getting lessons, I think, around 10 or 11, and they were teaching me literally, and I'm not kidding, you know, out of a Mel Bay book, which Mel Bay is a great book to learn any kind of a method, but it was... So when you learn that at 10 or 11, you kind of lose interest. It's kind of like Lola's losing interest right now. But yeah, you admitted it. Anyway, don't teach your kids Mary Had a Little Lamb. Teach them something cool. Continue.
Yes. So he lost interest, and then a few years later, picked back up the guitar. Now, his mother was a music teacher. So
that's right. She played piano, I think.
She did play piano, and she had a music school in North Hollywood. And he started to fall in love with the guitar, started shredding, and then when he really saw Alice Cooper for the first time, that's when he fell in love with rock and roll. And he's like, I can do this. Like, I can do this. So he did it. So he actually graduated from Burbank High early. He worked hard. He graduated early so he could work at his mother's school and pursue music full time. And that's when he formed Quiet Riot. Now, the lead singer that he got for Quiet Riot, Kevin Dubrow, he didn't like, it's not that he didn't like him, but he didn't like him as his lead singer. He always envisioned somebody like David Bowie or somebody like, you know, Alice Cooper, somebody very eccentric and to be the lead, right? And Kevin was not that. Dubrow was not that. But he had a lot of enthusiasm and didn't take no for an answer, so he was hired, right? Now, what happened was, now Quiet Riot wasn't a really big sensation worldly. Like, I mean, it was huge in LA, like played up and down the Hollywood Strip, Quiet Riot.
Sunset Strip.
And was huge in Japan also. But here's the interesting thing. Rhoads was a really cool guy, and during the recording of his second album, Garner, his best friend, I'm not saying that right. Garner? No. Yeah, Garner. His best friend from back in high school. Garney. Thank you. Garney and Dubrow were fighting, so much so that Garney got really drunk, shot a gun through the ceiling kind of thing, and threatened to kill Kevin. So that was the ending of the band, needless to say.
That's crazy.
But my whole point to this is that he's from Burbank, and we cannot acknowledge the greatness that is Randy Rhoads. I feel like that needs to be louder. Yeah, shred it, Nomad. Am I gonna do it?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, crazy. That's shows. Millions of people living this rose. Oh, baby, turn out the love and forget how you hate. Let your wounds stop healing. That's a bitter shame. Going off the rails on a crazy train. Going off the rails on a crazy train.
Okay, I screwed that up, but yes, that was fun. I love Randy Rhoads. Something about, I want to say about musicians. There's two types of musicians, I believe.
Okay.
Ones that learn a lot of songs from their favorite artists or whatever, musicians, and ones that don't. And I fall into the category of ones that don't. Sorry.
Well, you do your own thing.
So it's hard, yeah.
And that's okay.
I kind of do my own.
And Sean. Larry, Carey, and Sean. Hello.
I like it.
Welcome to the show.
So 3 people walk into a bar. Larry, Carey, and Sean. Sean says to Larry and Carey, I'm just kidding.
No, I was hoping you were going somewhere with
It was a joke. Yeah.
It wasn't. It was a joke until you stopped it.
Moving on. Oh my gosh. We told you it's going to be a longer show today because we're just kind of dill pickling around.
No. We're doing this for you. Our due diligence. We're putting in the long time, the long hours here.
Yes.
You know.
The long hours.
The long time hours.
The long time. Okay. Continue. Lovely Lo.
This week in music history. It was March 20th.
Yeah.
1969. John Lennon got married to Yoko Ono.
Very cool.
Now, that is very cool, but a lot of people didn't like that at the time. Did you know that? In fact, John Lennon decided to write a song about it, and it is called The Ballad of John and Yoko.
Even though it's not a ballad.
My favorite, though, is the chorus, and this is where he's really expressing his frustration to the world, where he's saying, like, Jesus, it's none of your business. And the chorus goes like this. Christ, you know it ain't easy. You know how hard it can be. The way things are going, they're gonna crucify me.
Sing it one more time, Lo.
Christ, you know it ain't easy. You know how hard it can be. Where did you go? They're gonna crucify me. It's a great song, actually. So if you want to go look it up, you should. And you'll learn all about how they got married and their honeymoon. And here's the thing. They had a series called In Bed. But it was In Bed for Peace.
Yeah.
And so they went on like a world tour where they took the world with them in bed for peace.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the video has that reference. So it's really neat.
Yeah, and so what they said was that even, you know, the song All We Need Is to Give Peace a Chance, they wrote that in bed in Montreal. So there you have it. There's your music history about John and Yoko.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, there was a lot of music history this week, and we have a lot of time here.
It's
so
it's like a scroll. It keeps going.
Here's something that I thought was really interesting. On March 20th in 1971, the Rolling Stones were pissed at their label. They had just released an album called Stone Age. And the Rolling Stones were so upset about the release of this album that they actually spent their own money, took out full-page ads against the album saying, quote, you know what? This isn't up to our standards. And we don't approve this album. We didn't think it was going to be released. We don't like the songs or the artwork.
What?
Yeah. They made full-page ads to basically give the finger to Decca Records, who released the album. Now, the album songs came from a collection that was written previously befur, you know, in like the mid-'70s, but...
Well, you know, I'm learning...
I mean, the mid-'60s.
I'm learning something, actually, in regards to that. I've been watching the new Miles Davis documentary on Netflix, and actually, it's been keeping me up. You know how... Excuse me.
It's been keeping him up late at night.
Yeah, because I finish here in the studio around midnight or so, right? And then I'm like, okay, I have to go wind. I turn on Netflix, and you know how you usually kind of fall asleep to something, and that's cool. I turned it on last night and I couldn't fall asleep because I was so interested. And she always tells me, "Don't watch something that you're interested in. Put on something
Watch
that you'll just
Animal
fall
Planet."
asleep to. Just kind of chillax." Anyway, I started watching it last night, and he did the same thing. He didn't take out ads, but he was in one contract with a record label, so he fulfilled that. He had to do 3 albums worth of music. He did it in, I think, 2 days of recording sessions.
What?
And he called his band in. He said, "Guys, we're going to go into the studio." They did like 12 or 14-hour days, 2 days in a row. They played a bajillion songs, recorded them, of course, and said, "Here you go, record label. Here's your 3 albums worth of material. Now you can let me go."
Bye.
So now I can go sign with this other new label. Wow. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So here's what I
That's
like about
genius,
that. Here's what I like
brilliant.
about this and what the Stones did.
Yeah.
They're reappropriating the power that the musicians and the artists have. And this is, sorry, I'm on my soapbox. But
take it away.
as the founder and creator of the Career Musician podcast and whole entire platform, I'm all about that. You know, what happens is musicians, professional musicians and artists get taken advantage of so often by record labels and all kinds of other business entities. What people fail to remember is that without the musician, without the musical artist, you wouldn't have a product to sell or market or distribute. So I really do like it when bands and artists and musicians stand up for themselves like the Stones did, like Miles Davis did, and so many thousands of others have in the past.
Yeah.
And I hope will continue to in the future when they stand up and say, "You know what, no. This is my vision, this is my artistry. I don't mind you distributing it and marketing it and selling it, and I actually appreciate that because we have a relationship, but it needs to be a symbiotic, synergistic relationship. Yeah. One can't take advantage of the other." So sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
That
is the whole point of the career musician, is learning the business of it. Because as I go through music history, every single week there's something about some deal that I usually don't share with you because I find it kind of boring. But in all honesty, the numbers and the business behind all of this,
pretty cool.
And it's those guys, it's the people who knew that back then that really banked on the artists, like the people who had not the Beatles, but people who had their record, their publishing.
Right.
That's where the money
So that's
is.
the big deal. If you own your own publishing, oh boy, about the copyrights, and then there's the master ownership, which is the master recording. There's so much. But,
which perfectly leads me into my next This Week in Music History. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So now this happened semi-recently, March 21st in 2006. Okay. So that's not too long ago, about 14 years ago. I did my math this week. All right. So check it out. 3 South African women whose father wrote the song the Lion Sleeps Tonight. Now, after all the years of people covering it being in The Lion King itself, that song is worth over $15 million.
Oh, is it really?
That one song.
I thought it would be a little more than that, actually.
Well, just from The Lion King alone, it was 15 million. So that's why I say at least. I know it's more than that.
If you
but
want to sing it again, I'll play
it. Come on. Oh, come on. Come on. Sing it with me. I know you are at home.
It's such a great tune, though.
The lyrics are good. Keep going.
Oh.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. And in the original, he goes, Then they have an operatic section. It goes like this. Keep going. Yes, I didn't do a very good job, but yes, in the original, they have that. And I will tell you this: when I was a kid and we had cassette tapes.
Oh yeah.
On one side it was ba-la-la-la-la-bamba, right?
Yeah.
On one side, and then on the other side it was The Lion Sleeps Tonight. I drove my dad absolutely insane with both of those songs. Because when one finished, I took that tape out, I flipped it, and I put it right back in, and I would blast it. Ba-la-la-la-la-bamba. Ba-la-la-la-la-bamba. I don't know.
Okay, that's good.
I'm kidding. I'm showing my whiteness. It's showing. I'm sorry. It's showing a little too much. My point is, I didn't even get to the point.
Get to the point, because I have a story.
The daughters of the songwriter of the Lion Sleeps Tonight.
The writer of The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
He was basically a janitor that worked at a record company, and he wrote the song.
Holy
all right,
cow.
He didn't get any credit or any money for it.
Don't say that
at all,
dude.
At all. But not until his three daughters finally fought the good fight. And in 2006, they were finally awarded the publishing.
In 2006,
the song was wrote in 1939.
Fork and spoon, people. You see what I'm talking about?
Know your business. Follow the career musician.
41, that's 47 years. Thank you for that lead, that segue. Wow, no, but it is true. But thank God that they had the wherewithal to fight it. And 47 years later, they got the publishing. So, excuse me, the quick little brief on that is when a song is written, just like a book, it becomes intellectual property. We call that IP. Intellectual property is anything that's intangible. Okay, so it's a book, it's a poem, it's a song, and things like this. When you write it, you get it copywritten, okay, which says, "Hey, I'm the writer of this. I did this. I'm the author. Okay." And then there's companies, publishing companies, or record companies, or other different entities that will publish the song, which means they will take it and they will put it out there to the masses. Now, in that publishing process, you have distribution, which literally means distributing it.
That means they own your song.
That means they own the song. And then what happens is the life of the song, anytime that song is used anywhere, money is generated from it. We call them residuals or royalties. And this is how many artists make their living, musicians and artists. Mm-hmm. So thank goodness that that's in play, because in times like this, when you can't do live gigs.
BMI just came through.
Yeah, exactly. So you get your royalties and you're like, okay, I have a little bit of money to carry me over. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're somebody like Garth Brooks, you have a lot of money to carry you over each quarter when you get your royalties. If you're somebody like a little bit of money, and it's okay. And we're fine with that. Every little bit helps. So we are grateful.
Which means you can go like us on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you shop around for music. Be sure to go like Nomad and Lola.
Help us keep the lights on. These lights.
Keep them on. They're bright.
And this internet bill. Okay.
Keep going.
But anyway,
two now.
So the point is, I lost my train of thought. The publishing is very. It can be lucrative, and if the song turns out to be a big smash, I'm so glad that these three young ladies went after the companies. I don't care, but I'm glad they finally got it.
Of course they were young.
They finally got it. It's for their foundation now, I'm sure. If they're
for their children.
Exactly. So it'll go on for generations. Here's my story. I didn't get to my story yet.
That wasn't your story?
A good buddy of mine, Star Thomas. I don't know if you're watching, but Star and Michelle, I love you guys. Hope you're healthy and the kids stay healthy and well. They're down in Florida. We were in our first band together, one of my first bands. And we were playing this bar, and I forget the name of it, and we were putting a set list together. And I put The Lion Sleeps Tonight on the set list. Star calls me up. He's like, "Yo, dude, we're not doing that song." I'm like, "Yeah, we are." He's like, "No, we're not." He's like, "I'm not going to play that song. It's stupid. It's cheesy. It's ridiculous." I'm like, the people like it, dude. We're going to play it. Guess what happened?
What happened?
The band broke up.
Over The Lion Sleeps Tonight? Shut up! Man.
Don't remember.
Star, what did you do? Clearly, you were a diva back then. My goodness.
No, because Star wanted to play like cool jazz and funk music and R&B, and we did play a lot of that. We played like we played that kind of stuff, and skin tight. We played all that cool stuff, and
that's what I thought you were playing. That's funny.
It was a funky singing, so we did all that stuff, and I was like, "Yo, when we chill it out a little bit,
and he's like, "No, I'm not doing that. You're lame."
That was terribly off key, but
Oh
You know
my
what I'm saying? Yeah,
gosh.
so the band broke up.
That's funny.
We
That's a
went
good
right on.
story.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
I love you, man. And we're like best buds to this day.
Yeah. And you're cool with Stark.
Yeah, he came to my wedding, our wedding.
Your
Not
wedding?
my wedding, our wedding.
He sat on your side. So, hello to Susan. Hello to Tristan.
Susan.
Hello to
Nice. You're getting the updates
yeah.
right. Yeah, I like it. Salute, happy half hour.
hello to all of you.
Yep. The drink of the week is the Quarantini if you're just tuning in.
Yep.
Which is basically a couple parts gin, a couple parts vodka, and the little emergency packet. I did the orange flavor.
Putting those to good use.
Put a little bitters in there and a little bit of like flavored club soda. It was delish.
Also known as an oxymoron.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now, this week in music history.
Oh, yeah.
In 2020, March 20th.
Oh, yeah. I was like, that's
2020.
now, 2020. I'm like, that's not music
Nomad
history.
and Lola
Oh.
made their very own
What?
cover mashup
Oh, we did.
of two songs that you
Wait,
wouldn't normally put together, but we did.
Yeah.
And it's coming out this Friday. So the reason why we keep telling you to go like our pages and all that stuff is because we don't want you to miss out on the brand
Brand
new
new single
song.
that we released.
Single,
It's a
yeah,
cover mashup.
and you'll like it, I hope.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No,
We learned some cool stuff about doing cover songs and mashing them up.
you can't really do it.
Ooh. So DJs do mashups all the time where they take one song and another
Yeah.
song, they put it together. And
That's
it's like,
a
it's cool, it's fun.
remix.
It's a remix.
But when you're doing your own original mastering, it is much harder to get it across. But thanks to our friends at Dashgo, they are
Thank you, Rod.
distributing it. So it's going to be out there Friday.
And
Now,
all the digital platforms.
yes, go like us.
Yes. Go listen to us. Spin us. Put us in the playlist.
Please.
Add us to your favorites. Follow us.
So here's the history of the song.
Dina La Chica.
The beginning is Gautier, somebody that I used to know.
Yeah.
Now Gautier, his real name is Wally.
That's cool.
But I like Gautier, so we'll go with it. Now he doesn't really consider himself a musician. He considers himself more of a tinkerer. And did you know that he sampled from a Brazilian jazz artist for the song Somebody I Used to Know?
I did not know that.
Now
Holy
you know
cow.
that. So the song that he sampled, I'm not gonna do it justice by saying it properly, but you guys can look it up.
Okay. That's
He
pretty cool.
also added some xylophone and a few other instrumentation. I think this might be the only #1 song with a xylophone feature.
That's kind of cool.
I think maybe in the pop world. So this was released in 2011. Doesn't it seem like forever ago? Seems like it was
Are you
longer
serious?
ago. Yeah, only in
That
2011.
was 9 years ago, but I mean,
But it feels like it was longer.
I don't know. It seems like 3 months ago to me. Who knows?
Right. So now
Time relevance is different to everybody.
the song is from the Brazilian jazz artist Luis Bonfa.
Oh yeah,
All right. Do you know who that is?
absolutely.
Okay. So Seville is the song that he featured.
Classics. Oh, Seville. Yeah.
Okay.
Seville, which is Seville. How it depends how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the song that he sampled.
That's awesome. I have to go look that up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now that's part of the song. The other part of the song is Eric Clapton's Layla.
I love it.
Now that song, dudes, grab your cocktails. Actually, grab a snack. I made us a nice little charcuterie plate. Yummy, yummy. By the way, look at the size of these blueberries.
Oh, it's like the ones from Texas you
It's a
got.
big ass blueberry.
No, it's yummy.
So have a snack, because I'm about to tell you a story.
Oh, and then I think we're gonna perform something, right?
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay.
You can eat while I
So
talk.
yummy. Sorry.
Mhm.
Okay.
Eric Clapton. His birthday is actually March 30th. So happy early birthday to you, Mr. Clapton.
Yes, sir.
He is one of the only artists to have been inducted into the Hall of Fame 3 different times. Once as a solo artist, once with the Yardbirds, and once with Cream.
That's
Fun little
awesome.
fact about Eric Clapton. Now, a real life Romeo and Juliet story, if you will, took place with 2 of the greatest musicians of all time, George Harrison and Eric Clapton.
I'm all ears.
Now, they were friends. They met while Eric was in the Yardbirds. They'd written a lot of songs with each other, uncredited. because of contractual obligations.
Right.
They just went uncredited.
Which we were talking about.
In fact,
we were just talking about.
it is Eric Clapton who plays on While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Now you know.
Dude, where are you getting this info?
Come on. I am the music historian. Didn't you know? So, he played on songs like While My Guitar Gently Weeps with George Harrison. These guys go way back.
That's so cool.
Okay? Somewhere in between Yardbirds and Cream, Eric fell in love with George Harrison's wife.
That's crazy.
Yep. And he tried to go for her a couple times. Despite their great friendship, a woman, it's always the start of a war, right?
Dude, bros before. Sorry.
Excuse me. This woman, Pattie Boyd, could arguably be one of the greatest rock muses of all time. Let's not get that twisted.
That's
because
nuts.
not only was she there to inspire George Harrison, which she did on many accounts, but she inspired the song Layla.
Hold on. This is my virtual popcorn.
It's a real charcuterie plate.
Oh.
So she inspired the real life Layla. All right. That is, or I should say, she is the real life Layla. And
it's crazy.
She bypassed Eric's attempts to get her. She's like, no, I'm going to stay loyal. No.
Good. You see?
But
there's some good in the world.
She didn't stay loyal.
Damn it, Patty. Was her name Patty?
Yes.
Damn
but
it,
do you know
Patty.
what? George wasn't loyal either. But that doesn't matter. Rock and roll in the 70s, whatever.
Damn it, everybody.
Damn it, the world. So what happened was Eric actually, there's a story, and an old Arabic. Thank you. An old Arabic poem about, it's kind of like the modern, I'm sorry, not the modern.
So good.
Can you stop eating and listen to me?
Listen.
Jesus. It's the Romeo and Juliet story of the East. All right. It's based on a poem from Arabia.
Got it.
Okay. And that's where the story of Kay and Layla start. Okay. Now Kay was madly in love with Layla, and Layla loved Kay back, but he was so obsessed with her that he basically went crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so the whole town knew it. So the dad forbade Kay to marry Layla. All right. He's like, no, man, you're crazy. You can't marry my girl. So he married his daughter off to somebody else. And Kay went crazy. They never got together. They were never together. When Layla finally died, they found Kay dead not too long later near her grave. It's a very sad story.
That's
Eric Clapton was incredibly inspired by this story and felt like he was Kay. And Pattie Boyd was his Layla. And so he actually, after being turned down by her, that's when he turned to heroin. And for 3 years went on this drug spiral, and then sobered up and came back and tried again. She was still married to George Harrison at this time, but the two decided to get together. So she divorced George Harrison, married Eric Clapton. Eric, in this time, wrote the song Layla about her. He also wrote Wonderful Tonight about her.
Another great
So
song.
that is why I say she is an incredible rock history muse, this Pat.
Wow.
I mean, there's so many jokes there. I'm going to keep it clean because I know I got kids watching.
What's where is she now? Like, what's up with her
She's
now?
still alive. She's still around. But now, of course, here's the things about her. She never, she felt like in some ways Eric only wanted what George Harrison had. So she felt like at the end of it all, she was just a trophy in this guitarist competition. So her heart's broken.
Wait, guitar players being competitive? No way.
So Layla's heart is broken somewhere. I mean, it's truly like a crazy love Romeo and Juliet story gone wrong, and it really is. So oddly enough, Layla was released in March of 1971. So that's how I brought it all around. Oh, and by the way, happy birthday, Patty. It was yesterday.
Wow.
So this week in music history, it couldn't be any better of timing for us to release our version It's called Somebody Named Layla. And it's out this Friday.
Here we go.
Be sure to like us on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Stream our music. Please check it out.
Go fucking like us.
This one's coming out.
Please.
Friday. Now and then I think of when we were together. Like when you said you felt so happy you could cry. Told myself that you were right for me.
But feel so lonely in your company.
That was love and it's an ache. I still remember.
Remember. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
You can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness. I'll let you take over.
like resignation to the end, always the end.
But when we found that we could not make sense,
But you said that we could still be friends.
I'll admit I was glad it was over.
We're over. But you didn't have to cut me off. Make out like it never happened and that we were nothing. I don't even need your love. You treat me like a stranger, yeah, that's so messed up. No, you didn't have to stoop so low. Have your friends connect your records and I change your number. Guess that I don't need that now. Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Somebody that I used to know. Somebody that I used to know. Yeah, I used to know. Now and then I think of all the times you screwed me over.
Never do such a thing.
Part of me believing it was always something that I did. Oh, what have I done? 'Cause I don't wanna live that way. Beaten into every word you say. You said that I should let it go. And I won't get you hung up on somebody that you used to know. Oh, oh. Make out like it never happened and that we were nothing. I don't even need your love. You treat me like a stranger, yeah, it's so messed up. No, you didn't have to stoop so low. Have your friends connect your record and I change your number. Guess that I don't need right now. Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Somebody that I used to know. Somebody that I used to know. Yeah, I used to know. Somebody. What was her name? Layla. You got me on my knees, Layla. Thinking about that place, Layla. Darling, she's my word mine. Layla. 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 Whoa, Layla. Layla. Layla.
That was fun.
That was fun.
There you have it. Somebody Named Lola is coming out this Friday. Just basically in a day and a half.
It's not the name of the song. It's called Somebody Named Layla.
Layla. Lola. Layla is so
we
close.
should have wrote that.
We should have
song.
named it. Yeah.
What were we thinking?
Anyway, it's coming out this Friday on all streaming platforms. Please check it out. Follow us. Add us to your playlists. And do all kinds of fun stuff like that. Thank you so much for all the comments and kind words.
I want to say hi to Bill. I want to say hi to Joshua.
Hello, Bill. Hello,
hi,
Joshua.
Hello.
Get you a crackers and cheese and charcuterie plates and
on a raspberry.
berries and stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean?
What are you guys doing for quarantine?
Yeah, really. Tell us.
Kind of weird to say that we're all on quarantine, right?
Hit us up on socials. Talk about what you're doing while you're staying home isolated. I know we're working our tails off here in the studio creating music, but we're also working on the Career Musician podcast. We're working on this show, amongst other things. So we stay pretty busy creatively. Yep. But I know a lot of people perhaps aren't used to working from home or, aren't in the office or whatever, or out in the field. So what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you guys doing to keep busy and not go crazy?
Yeah.
Do you eat charcuterie and drink all day? Like us? I mean,
we do that like for an hour.
We only do that on Wednesdays.
Yeah, exactly. All right, is that it? Are we signing out?
Bye.
All right. Oh, check it out. We're going to release this song this summer or this spring.
Let's just stick with the ones that we did already.
Oh.
I'm just like, bye, guys.
Okay, we're going back to this. Never mind.
See you later.
Sorry, bye.
Thanks for coming.